Okay, so today we're taking a deep dive into something really cool. And that is the kind of, I don't know, like the hidden perks of studying in Australia. We're going off of, you sent me over some information.
Right.
It seems to be like a website aimed at international students,
Yeah.
potentially looking at Australia.
Yeah.
And so whether or not you're, somebody who's thinking about like actually studying abroad, or if you're just interested in like, what's so great about Australia besides,
Kangaroos and beaches.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to kind of uncover some of those advantages.
Oh, wait. Exactly.
And so, one of the things that popped out right away at me was this idea of a 37-hour standard work week.
Oh, yeah.
Like 37 hours. That's way less than what I was used to.
Right.
Did that actually make a big difference in your experience as a student?
Yeah, it did actually.
Really?
Yeah, it's legally mandated. You can't.
Oh, wow.
You can't work more than 38 hours a week.
Yep.
So 37 is pretty standard, and that means that people have a lot more time for leisure. They have a lot more time to do the things that they want to do. They have time to study.
That makes a huge difference, I think.
It does.
I know, like when I was a student, I was just constantly stressed and trying to like balance everything.
Yeah.
So having that kind of extra time,
Yeah.
it seems like it would be like a huge weight off your shoulders.
Yeah, definitely. It feeds into this idea that Australia really promotes, which is a healthy work-life balance.
Totally.
Which, is a huge attractor for people coming to live in Australia.
For sure.
But it also leads to a lot of really great post-study work opportunities.
Okay, so that was the next thing that I wanted to ask you about, because I saw in the source material that Australia offers this thing called the temporary graduate visa.
Right.
It's subclass 485.
Yes.
And that lets graduates stay in the country and work.
Work. Yep.
For up to 4 years.
That's right.
That's amazing.
It is.
Okay, to be honest with you, I don't really understand, like, what is a subclass?
So the visa subclasses are basically just categories within the broader Australian visa system.
Got it.
So, you've got your different types of visas, and then within those visas, you've got
Subcategories.
Subcategories, exactly.
Yep.
And so 485 is the subclass for temporary graduate visas for international students who have just graduated.
Okay, so it's basically like a golden ticket.
It is.
To kind of start your career in Australia.
It is, yeah. It's a chance to gain that experience.
Wow.
Yeah, make connections.
And potentially
get permanent residency, if that's what you're looking at.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Okay.
It is pretty amazing.
So 4 years is a long time?
It is.
Like what kind of jobs what are most grads kind of getting with this visa?
It's competitive for sure.
Okay.
But there are jobs, in all sorts of fields. Some of the more popular ones would be engineering, IT, healthcare.
Okay.
And then hospitality and tourism are also really big, as you can imagine, in Australia.
Makes sense.
But the key is to network and get out there.
That's all.
And look for opportunities.
Yeah, always the key, I guess.
Yep.
So, okay, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about, like, the source you gave me talks about how Australia is like very multicultural, welcoming students from over 200 countries.
Right.
So how does that actually like play out, say on a campus setting?
Well, for me, like a really good example would be we had an annual food festival.
Oh, cool.
At the university where I was. And so all different cultural groups would set up booths and have traditional food from all around the world.
That sounds amazing.
It was really cool.
Yeah, way more fun than like...
In reading about it.
Yeah, just reading about it in a textbook.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you think like having that kind of environment actually had an impact?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
On like your studies or even your career goals?
Yeah, like particularly when you're working on group projects with people from all around the world, you get to see different communication styles, different ways of problem solving, approaching problems, and just, the importance of respecting different perspectives, which is, I think, a really valuable skill that employers are looking for.
For sure. Yeah.
In a globalized world.
Okay, so let's talk about research opportunities, because I know the source mentioned, Australia's got this like reputation for really amazing research institutions.
World leading, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not a scientist or anything.
Yeah.
But I imagine that's like a huge draw.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Students, right?
Yeah, Australia is a leader in research in a number of fields.
Okay.
Like, for example, renewable energy, marine biology, biomedical engineering. And a lot of universities encourage students, even undergrad students, to actually get involved in research.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's not just like, lectures and exams. You can actually
No, you can get hands-on experience.
be in a lab
Yeah.
with people like doing the research.
Yeah, working alongside some of the best academics in the world.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could like picture yourself as a third year student. You already got a publication under your belt.
Absolutely.
Because you're involved with like a real research project.
It's amazing for your resume and CV.
That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, and it gives you a taste of what it's like
Totally.
to work in that field as well.
Okay, last but not least,
Yeah.
we got to talk about the lifestyle and the travel opportunities.
Right.
Because Australia's got it all, right? Beaches, the outback,
Yeah, pretty much.
cities.
You got it.
So, like, what made it unique as a student? Like, could you easily kind of
Yeah.
get around and see stuff?
Yeah, you can.
Uh-huh.
Public transport's actually pretty good in most cities.
Yeah.
And if you want to go further afield, domestic flights are actually pretty reasonably priced as well.
Okay.
And so during like semester breaks and things, I was able to visit places like the Great Barrier Reef,
Wow.
Uluru, Tasmania.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool.
And you're so close to like Southeast Asia.
Yeah, Southeast Asia and the Pacific Islands are right there.
So many places to see.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
it was great.
Well, I mean, we've covered a lot.
We have.
The work-life balance, post-study work opportunities,
Yeah.
the multicultural environment, research, lifestyle. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of clear why, like, Australia is such a hotspot for international students.
It's a pretty amazing combination.
Yeah.
But here's something to think about. Like with all this information in mind,
Yeah.
what parts of studying in Australia would you want to learn more about? Like
Mm.
what questions would you ask to really figure out if it's a good fit?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it's really important for like anybody listening who's even considering it to do their research,
Definitely.
due diligence. Yeah, exactly, and figure out like what matters most to them.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, even if you're not thinking about studying abroad,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool to just kind of like see how other countries
Approach these.
approach it all.
Yeah.
So thanks for making this deep dive with us.
My pleasure.